Welcome to San Joaquin Spotlight, a public affairs program featuring conversations about life in the central San Joaquin Valley. This program is brought to you in partnership between KFSR 90.7 FM and CMAC Fresno. I'm your host, Sevag Tateosian. Today, the studio behind the scenes is buzzing with activity. Our volunteer crew that makes this and every production possible is working hard to bring you high-quality San Joaquin Spotlight. This week, we're going to talk about education and the State Center Consortium with Lori Morton. Lori, welcome to the program.
Thanks very much. I'm glad to be here.
Talk about the State Center Consortium because, you know, I bet you people come up to you and say, hey, what's that?
All the time. State Center Consortium is a grant-funded organization that's underneath the umbrella of State Center Community College District. A little over 20 years ago, it was established as a collaborative between the Fresno County Office of Education and the State Center Community College District to try to support and align career technical education programs. And so what I do as director of State Center Consortium is try to facilitate the collaboration between high school teachers and community college faculty.
So I'm just give an example. I'm a teacher of wood shop or mechanic shop. Do I call you at a high school? Do I call you, and what would you do if I called you?
Well, you could call us directly if you were a teacher, but most times the way our information and resources get communicated out is through our advisory committee. And so State Center Consortium has many different K-12 school districts all over Fresno, Madera, Mariposa counties. So all the way from Kerman to Orange Cove, all the way as far as north as Yosemite and Madera Unified, all the way down to Kingsburg, and everywhere in between.
So this is not just a Fresno thing. I mean, you're
No.
talking big. So do you travel out there, or I mean, how does that work? What's a normal day like for you?
Well, the normal day for me is very busy. I have so many different organizations and school districts that I get to work with, which means I never get bored. But I get to travel a lot. I don't get out to the school sites as much as I would like to, but like I said, I get to work with a lot of the different district administrators, counselors, and teachers in these various school districts and help connect them to our community college programs. So I also work with the community college deans and administrators, counselors, and faculty there, and try to bridge the gap between what they're doing at the high school level and what they're doing at the post-secondary level.
You mentioned your organization is grant funded, and so who are you reaching out to for grants? I mean, are these government grants or business grants?
Well, over the years, they've been from all different sources. Primarily the California Department of Education and the California Community College Chancellor's Office. Right now, the bulk of our grants come from the Chancellor's Office. Now, there's some funding that's going to be coming down from the Department of Ed, hopefully very soon. The governor allocated $250 million through the California Career Pathways Trust. And so the consortium, on behalf of our educational partners, will be applying for that grant so that we can help continue the efforts here in our area with our partners.
So, okay, let's talk about a school that you're partnering with. What does that look like? I mean, what you partner with them and then they do what?
Well, basically, any of our school district partners or our community colleges and higher ed partners too. I forgot to mention Fresno State, Fresno Pacific, and National University are university level partners. And then we have community organizations as well. Junior Achievement is a partner of ours and Fresno Chamber of Commerce. But basically what we do is we try to, like I said, facilitate collaborative meetings. We do professional development workshops for teachers, and then we host events for students as well. So this March we have our apprenticeship workshop. Last year we hosted 160 students at the Plumber and Pipe Fitters Union, and they got to experience hands-on what it would take to become an apprentice if that was something that they wanted to do after high school.
And I saw a couple of events you have coming up, and they look pretty cool. And going back to this event you have with the plumbers, there are people who say education and test scores are everything, and I'm sure you've heard of that. But you try to bring in some vocational education, it sounds like.
Yeah, the primary focus of our grant funding is to support career technical education. And really, if you think about it, every industry fits into some sort of career tech field. It's not just your mom and pop's wood shop or machine shop class like it used to be maybe 40, 50 years ago. These CTE classes are very cutting edge. We have business and marketing classes, health, careers, programs. There's still automotive out there, but also programs in criminal justice and crime scene investigation. They really touch into all different industry areas. The Department of Education has segmented them into 15 sectors, everything from ag to transportation.
It sounds very detail-oriented, and
it is.
It's a lot of different topics, it sounds like. Picture a society where there's no organization like yours. What would happen?
Well, you know, believe it or not, there are a lot of areas in our state of California that do not have consortiums like ours. They used to be more prevalent many years ago with the tech prep grants, but as sometimes the funding goes away over the years, so do the organizations. Fortunately, in our area, we have very supportive partners, and we've been able to maintain a very vigorous relationship with our school districts and our post-secondary institutions. And so it's really great to be able to continue the work and maintain these relationships and bring people together so that we can create seamless transitions for students.
What's success for you? I mean, let's say you have this kid that you brought into a relationship and now is going to City College or one of the other schools. I mean, how do you define success?
Well, I think there's multiple levels of success. One aspect would be allowing teachers at, like I said, the high school and post-secondary levels to create a relationship, a connection, so that their programs will really seamlessly connect, so that they can make sure that students are prepared leaving high school and continuing on to post-secondary. But maybe a step further would be having students be exposed to different career pathways.
I'm going to stop you there, and I don't mean to interrupt, but exposure. You know, when I was in high school, it was like, you're only going to be a doctor or a lawyer, and doctor and lawyer make the money. Everybody else doesn't make money. And then, you know, I get out into the real world, and that's not true. We've got a lot of people making more money than doctors and lawyers. So the exposure, how important is that?
It's incredibly important. The Fresno County Office of Education, with support from PG&E, this last September hosted a Career Tech Night at the Convention Center, and it was a huge success. It was great for students and parents alike to see all the different career industry options that we have in our region. Everything from welding to electrical. And these folks make really good salaries. So you don't have to be a doctor or a lawyer necessarily to make a good wage. You know, there's a wide array of career options, and it's about exposing students to those different possibilities and what they would need to do to continue on if that was their career of choice.
So how would you feel if through your organization and your workshop in March, a kid goes through, learns this trade, and goes that direction, and 10 years from now is in charge of their own private company on the Fortune 500?
That would be awesome. That would be wonderful. And you know, there are success stories like that all over the place. You know, teachers share things. You know, they're really the ones doing the work, the teachers are. And so just to be able to support them and come behind them and be a resource, you know, some of our grants allow us to purchase equipment or textbooks for some of these CTE programs. And so it's just very rewarding to know that we're helping support what they're doing every day in their classrooms.
What does your partnership with Junior Achievement look like? I mean, you mentioned they're a partner. We've had them on the show, and Michelle is great, by the way.
She is great.
What does that partnership look like?
You know, Junior Achievement has been incredibly supportive. It's really a win-win relationship for us. We help support some of their job shadowing activities for students through our grants, and it really works well because Junior Achievement has some really great relationships with businesses, and they're able to take students out into those workplaces and expose them to, you know, what it would take to be employed at that particular business. And then, you know, Michelle has been a part of this Career Technical Education Conference since we've started planning last year, and so her contacts and some of the events that Junior Achievement has done has really helped us in the planning of that. So, yeah.
Let's talk about this coming up. So tell us about it.
Well, Tuesday, February 4th, we're going to be hosting a Central Valley Career Technical Education Conference, and it is going to be located at the Clovis Veterans Memorial District building. And we have two phenomenal keynote speakers, and really what we're trying to do is bring local businesses together with our educational leaders so that they can talk about building relationships that will facilitate work-based learning experiences for students and really hopefully you know, expand the knowledge about CTE and what it is, its value, and like I said, build those partnerships that can be rewarding for students.
Walk us through this event. So registered, I call you right away after listening to this on radio or watching on TV, and I say, sign me up. What happens the day of the event?
Okay, well, if you go to our website, statecenter.com, just www.statecenter.com, you'll see us scrolling slides with images, and you'll see an image that looks just like this, Building Business and Educational Partnerships, and you click on that, and it'll take you to a link where you can register. There is a small registration fee to help cover the cost of the wonderful breakfast and lunch that we will provide, but you'll actually get to select from 2 breakout sessions that you'll get to attend, and we have many different breakout sessions, everything from linked learning, model business partnerships, where we'll have a panel. We have the workforce investment boards in 3 counties joining us, and also a new program that I'll talk more about in just a little bit, which is our E3 network. It's the Employer and Education Engagement Network. So there's a lot of different options for breakout sessions that you can choose from. The morning will start out, though, with our keynote speaker, who is Michael Bizdak, and he is the Director of Corporate Contributions for Johnson & Johnson.
The Director of Corporate Contributions for Johnson & Johnson.
Yes.
Pretty important figure.
Yes. Yes, and he has done some amazing things in his stay with Johnson & Johnson. They have a program that they created several years ago called Bridge to Employment. And what that means is that they have worked with high schools and community college students to place them in Johnson & Johnson healthcare business affiliates. So all over the nation, they have established these Bridge to Employment programs and place students out into the workplace in internships and very specific mentoring programs, and it's been really successful. So we wanted him to come out and share his experience and his success so that we can inspire some new partnerships here in our area.
So if I'm a student and I'm attending this, there's going to be some pretty important people wandering around, talking to me. How would you say I should act?
Well, this conference is not really targeted at students, not even particularly teachers, unless they are department chairs or educational leaders. What we're really trying to do is get the decision makers together. So that means business owners or managers, it means school board members, school site principals or administrators, anyone that can really be the movers and the shakers to make these partnerships come together.
For you, the day of the event, I've done event planning, so I know that it can be stressful, but the day of the event, what are you going to be thinking of, and your group that's kind of putting this together, what's going through your mind at that time?
Well, we have a phenomenal planning committee, and as a matter of fact, we had a meeting this afternoon, and everybody has really pulled together. It's a great group of folks. We have the Fresno Chamber, Junior Achievement, Fresno and Valley ROPs, and several others that have banded together to take care of all the details. So I'm hoping that by the time the day comes around, that we'll be completely prepared and ready to introduce these wonderful speakers that we're having and provide some really phenomenal breakout sessions and meet a lot of new folks. So we're hoping it's a great networking opportunity for people as well.
And will people be in town from all over the state or valley? Or
we're really trying to focus it on the Central Valley. So we have partners in, like I said, Fresno, Madera, Mariposa, Tulare and Kings counties that are represented on the planning committee, and so that's the main area that we're trying to reach out. Although we're not exclusive. I mean, if there's someone from out of the area that wants to come and hear some of the model partnerships that we've had, or learn more about linked learning or our intermediary network that we're trying to establish, we would encourage them to come as well.
What's in it for the business? So let's say that I own this growing company in Fresno, and I hear about your organization and I say, I want to learn more. When I come to one of these events or meet with you and the people involved in the State Center Consortium, what's in it for me? What can I get out of this?
Well, there's really a lot of benefits. If you were a business person, one of the key benefits that you could pretty easily see is that you could have an influence on how students are being educated and how they're being prepared to come into your workplace eventually. So let's just say that you own a manufacturing plant and you need to hire maintenance mechanics, and over the next 5 to 10 years, half of your maintenance mechanics will be retiring, because as we know, with the baby boomers retiring, right, there's a lot of the workforce that are going to be leaving very soon. And so that's a great opportunity for you to connect with these educational programs, whatever that area industry is, and be able to be a driving force behind what's actually going on, how students are being prepared, what they need to know. Industry changes all the time, and it's hard for us educators to keep up. And so we need the advice and the expertise of those business partners to be able to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to prepare students appropriately.
How are the schools? I mean, are the schools responsive? Are they saying, you know what, you're right, we need forklift drivers, for example, or we need mechanics or airplane mechanics? I mean, are the schools saying, you're right, let's work together?
Absolutely. Our partners at the consortium are very supportive, and as a matter of fact, they're encouraging this effort and want to do whatever they can to establish these relationships with businesses. And as a matter of fact, from the business folks that I've already been speaking with, they too are very encouraged. A lot of them are very interested in connecting with these educational programs, and they just aren't sure how to do that. And so what we're trying to do with the consortium is establish what we're calling the Employer and Education Engagement Network. I mentioned that a little earlier. And we're going to have a breakout session as kind of our launching pad for this network at the February 4th conference. And so what we're trying to do is become an intermediary to connect businesses with educational programs, because businesses might not know what educational programs are available in their area or where they could go to maybe potentially hire students at some point. And so the consortium, being that we're connected with all of these CTE programs in our area, can help be that connection.
CTE, you've mentioned it several times.
Yes.
For our audience members, define it.
CTE is Career Technical Education, and like I said, it really reaches into every different industry field you can think of. But it is trying to prepare students for the workforce, whether that means continuing their post-secondary education, achieving a certificate, transferring to a 4-year degree. It could mean a lot of different things, but really educating them on different careers.
We have a diverse community, and are you finding that you're opening the eyes to a lot of people who come from diversity? Because like I said, I come from a minority family, and for us, I mentioned earlier, lawyer, doctor, that's it. No one else makes money. Is that common? I mean, are you opening people's eyes, and are they saying, you know what, you're right, the airline mechanic, he's making good money or she's making good money?
Well, I certainly hope so, but I couldn't do what I do without the support of our advisory committee and our consortium partners. Everybody has a common goal of encouraging career technical education as a whole. And so what that means is sharing resources and communicating all of the events and goings on. Like I said, the County Office of Education held that Career Tech Night in September, which was really successful. And so it's really all about working together to continue spreading the word.
Where can people find out more information about your organization and what you do?
Like I mentioned, if they visit www.statecenter.com, they can find out all about State Center, the grants that we're funded by, the events that we have, and they can register for the conference. And they can like us on Facebook. We have a State Center Facebook page too, and I encourage folks to learn more about us and give us a call or shoot us an email if they have questions.
Misconceptions. A lot of people have misconceptions. When it comes to the schools that you're working with, technical schools and vocational training and those kind of things, do people have misconceptions? I mean, are you finding that people say, oh, that's not a school, or that's not something that people should do?
One of the biggest misconceptions, I would say, is that career technical education is for at-risk students or students that aren't going to college.
I hear that all the time as well. It's, oh yeah, that school, that's where the bad kids go.
Right, absolutely not true at all. Career technical education really should be for all students, to give them an experience, to expose them to a different career field, have some hands-on activities, or go out into the workplace and get some work-based learning experiences. But really, it's for all students, to help them define what they want their future career to be and what those steps are to get there. And like I said, that might mean, in most cases, it does mean some sort of post-secondary education or training. Whether it's a degree or certificate that they need to earn to move into that career field.
You mentioned the Chamber of Commerce a couple of times, Fresno Chamber of Commerce. What does that partnership look like? Because some people will say, what's State Center Consortium doing partnering with Fresno Chamber of Commerce?
Well, it's great because I sit on the Business Education Committee, which is one of the committees of the Chamber. And I have the privilege of being part of the Leadership Fresno class this year as well, which is also through the Chamber of Commerce. But it's really great to learn what's going on in the business community and, again, try to expand our relationships and reach out to local businesses.
You know, why do you do what you do? I mean, you have done a great job with this organization, and I'm sure you've had other opportunities to work for other agencies and institutions, but you're here doing this. Why do you do what you do? What is this? What is it about this that, you know, you're so passionate? Here we are in the evening recording this show in downtown Fresno. A lot of people are at home right now having dinner in their pajamas. Yet here, you know, along with this crew, you and I are here in the studio. Why do you do what you do?
Because I believe in career tech ed. I think that it's incredibly valuable to students. I think that, you know, folks need to learn more about what CTE is doing out in our community and buy into the very viable career options that we have. I mean, agriculture, manufacturing, healthcare, those are three enormous industries here in our valley. And we have CTE programs at our high school and post-secondary levels that contribute to all of those fields. And so just educating folks on what is out there, what's available, and helping students to understand that they can do this, you know.
You know, you mentioned helping students understand that they can do this. And, you know, I'm sure you hear it. I've heard it too before, where you get kids that say, oh, that's not for me, or I can't do that, or I'll never amount to anything, or I'm too clumsy. You know, one thing I heard is, oh, I'm too clumsy to fix this car, or I'm too, you know, and it's just bizarre things they say, but I'm sure you've heard that too. So for the kid who's out there doubting him or herself, what do you have to say to them?
Well, you can do anything you set your mind to. Like I said, the teachers are the ones that are really there day to day working with these students, and there are some phenomenal career tech ed teachers here in our area.
Talk about the teachers a little bit more. I mean, how important are they in this equation? I mean, a lot of times when people always say, oh, the teachers, they get great retirement, they're off for 3 months, you know, what an easy job. People, I say what I hear out there in the community, and so
Sure.
You're dealing directly with teachers and in this kind of program.
Well, and talk about misconceptions. I started out as a high school teacher myself.
Oh, there you go.
So I know that teaching is a tough job. It really is. And so, you know, these teachers are dedicated to their work. You have teachers that are doing nights and weekend activities for students. They're going on field trips or competitions. And, you know, teaching is a tough job. And, but you know what? It's one of the most rewarding careers you can have.
How did your background in education prepare you for this role? Because, I mean, it sounds like you need to know teaching and best practices, but then you need to be a negotiator in a sense. I mean, you need to build relationships, then you need to know the business aspect. I mean, you really need to be well-rounded for a job that you're doing. But what specifically has your background in education brought to the table?
Well, I tell people that I love my job because it is a perfect mix of business and education. I got my business degree from Fresno State. I didn't really intend on going into education, but ended up...
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. I started substitute teaching for Fresno Unified when I was in my last semester at Fresno State and fell in love with teaching. And so ended up continuing on my education, getting my credential in business, and I was a business teacher for 6 years.
I'm smiling because you're in a perfect, I mean, your background in education, your business degree, I mean, it seems like you fit perfectly in this role.
I love it. I love it. And like you said, the relationships are incredibly important. I've had some really wonderful opportunities to work with folks at the Fresno County Office of Education, the regional occupational programs here in our valley, and all of those, you know, our colleges, Reedley College, Fresno City College. So all of those experiences and relationships really helped prepare me for this role.
Everybody who comes on San Joaquin Spotlight gets the magic wand.
Okay.
Now you have a magic wand, and with that magic wand, you can get whatever wish you would like. So, what is your wish?
Wow, that's a tough one. I wasn't prepared for that question. What would my magic wand be? Well, if I really had to narrow it down to one thing, I guess off the top of my head, the magic wand would be unlimited resources, sustainability. You know, being grant funded is a constant battle to make sure that you have funds there to support the work that you're doing. And I really feel strongly, like I said, about the career tech ed programs that we have. And and building those relationships between secondary and post-secondary and education and business. And so to be able to have a never-ending flow of resources and support, wherever that would come from, would be amazing, yeah.
Tell us briefly, we're running out of time, but tell us again, what's happening in February and how can people find out more information?
Okay, so they can go to statecenter.com and they can click on the link for the building business and educational partnerships link. And it is Tuesday, February 4th. Registration begins at 7:30 and we'll start the conference at 8 and it goes till 1 o'clock. So we've got a nice breakfast and lunch. And like I said, we'll have a keynote speaker with Michael Bizdak. We'll have 2 breakout sessions, and then we'll finish out the day with a lunch. And we're having Chris Rosander, who was recently inducted to the International Space Hall of Fame. And he's going to be our lunch speaker. And he is a local guy that credits his success to being involved in the CTE program his senior year in high school.
There you have a success
There
story
you go.
that's incredible.
That's right.
I mean, he's made national headways with his work that
That's
he
right.
has done.
Yeah, so we're excited to have him on board.
Thank you so much for coming on
Thank
the
you.
program this week. We are out of time, but it sounds like you're doing some great things with the programs you're
Thanks.
running. And tell people where they can call to build a partnership with you.
Well, www.statecenter.com, and it has our contact information on there. They can email us or give us a call if they have any questions, and I encourage them to do so. The more people we can reach, the more work can be done. So thank you very much.
That's all for this edition of San Joaquin Spotlight. To the volunteer crew that made this and every production possible, thank you. We couldn't do this without you. To our audience members watching us on CMAC, Comcast 93, AT&T 99, thank you for tuning in to the program this week. To those who are watching us on YouTube and the website, again, thank you. And to our audience members listening to the program on 90.7 KFSR Fresno, thank you. We've heard from Lori Morton. Thank you, Lori, for coming on the program this week. Next week, we'll be back with a whole new episode, a whole new edition, so be sure to tune in.